began Mr. Shah. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I would like to clear that I am not a religious authority at all, and I have no formal religious education in madrasa or any other religious. In this article, actually, we interviewed the religious scholars thoroughly and in-depth interviews, we can say. So, what I am going to say, these are not my own personal views, but are the essence of the opinions of religious scholars. Actually, we are trying to establish the position of gender equality with its relation to Islam. The concepts of gender equality, women protection, women empowerment, and the issue of patriarchy are the major themes of feminist studies and public policies. Our central idea is that when we deal with Islam and gender equality, we actually deal with two religions. One is Islam and other is gender equality, or you can say feminism. Islam is a revealed religion, and fundamental proclamation of Islam is that there is no God but Allah. Its basic and authentic text is Holy Quran, and other fundamental sources of Sharia are Sunnah, Ijma, and Qiyas. As gender equality is the central issue of feminism, so the other religion opposite to Islam is feminism, and the original sources of gender equality are UDHR, CEDAW, and other international covenants and conventions. Now, this religion shares its ideology with capitalism, and specifically, it can be identified as the strongest expression of postmodernism. So, its fundamental proclamation is that there is no God but human. Now, what is human? Human is demon. Human is not just an individual and creature of Allah and accountable to Allah, but this human being believes that he is self-determined, autonomous, and free. This conception of man as human originated in the West, the homeland of human rights, equality, progress, development, and freedom. Western civilization is first in the history to claim some self-evident truths that all men are created equal with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. These self-evident truths are the dogmatic beliefs of modern rational human beings. These human rights are not divine rights, but are the outcome of historical process, that they came at a specific time period in the history under some specific historical conditions and specific circumstances. So it is a grave mistake to trace human rights in Islam. Islam is total submission, and human rights are total freedom. So these two are opposite to each other. Now the dilemma of our post-colonial society is that its intellectualism is inspirational and reactionary. Actually, we are living in 4 centuries at a time. Our belief structure is 1400 or 1500 years old. Our social infrastructure is like that of 17th and 18th century. Thirdly, we are living in this century, and we have the information of next century. So this temporal stratification is the breeding ground of conflicting identity crisis. So we actually are deprived of our identity. In colonial era, the biggest loss we suffered is that we are deprived of our history, our heroes, our values, and so on. We don't know what we are. That is the identity crisis. So actually, when feminists and exponents of human rights and gender equality and freedom and progress and so on, things like that, they borrow their ideology from Western demonic conception of human rights. They struggle for protection and empowerment of women as individuals. That is the biggest twist in the debate, that human rights claim to protect women as an individual, women in abstraction. But on the other hand, Islam protects women as a wife, as a daughter, as a sister, as a mother. When you protect women as a woman, as an abstract individual, then woman as a wife can never be protected. Woman as a daughter, woman as a wife, woman as a mother can never be protected when you protect woman as an abstract individual. So it is taken for granted that gender equality is a universal phenomenon and is necessarily promotes freedom, progress, and peace. Our gender equality policies try to justify that Islam legitimizes these secular and liberal concepts of peace, justice, and women's rights and human rights. It must be clear that Islam has its own conception of peace, justice, and equality, and in Islam there is no such thing as human rights and women's rights as an individual. Islam gives rights, and these are huquqs. These are as wife, as mother, as daughter, as sister, not as a woman. Islam does not recognize man as self-determined, autonomous, and free. These are the specific characteristics of Satan. So, when we say Islamic human rights, Islamic feminism, or gender equality in Islam, we actually say something like Islamic Satanism or Islamic Harsh. Islamic feminism is not feminism in Islam or feminism of Islam. It is feminism against Islam. With its core idea of gender equality, feminism has antagonistic relationship with Islam. Every kind of feminism has antagonistic relationship with every kind of religion. It is not limited to Islam and Islamic feminism. Every feminism, every branch of feminism is against every belief system that is religious. Feminism in the name of gender equality and women empowerment struggles against patriarchy, claiming that women's suppression, oppression, or victimization is the result of patriarchy. No, the problem is that Islam favors and promotes patriarchy. That is why the solution provided by the feminists and exponents of gender equality is the demolition of the theological foundations of androcentric tendencies in Islamic traditions, so that women can be saved from brutality. That is the ultimate destiny of gender equality and feminism. Gender equality can never be reconciled with Islam because of metaphysical and theological clashes. Gender equality and patriarchy, gender inequality and patriarchy are intrinsic in Islamic teachings. Islam not only tolerates patriarchy but also commands to practice it. If a woman does not practice Islamic ethical values, then her brother, her father, her husband and son will be punished. Hence, a Muslim man is compelled to maintain patriarchal hierarchy. It is a religious duty and obligation. It is not a matter of mere bias and biased interpretation of religious texts. It is a matter of salvation of man and woman, the servants of Allah. Gender equality is possible only when Muslim male is freed from his religious obligations, and that freedom will be a transgression. State policies of gender equality are responsible and will be responsible for the consequences of gender equality. Legislation and policy formulation on gender equality is resulting in moral decay. Morality lies in the religion, not in the constitution. Gender equality will not save women from violence and brutality. It will victimize women more and more. The ideas of equality, progress, freedom, and standard of life are the dogmatic beliefs of liberal capitalistic individuality. Islam negates all of them, and they all negate Islam. The essence of freedom is independence from this world and God as well. Freedom means the slavery of capital. Gender equality promises to free humans from the order of religion and enslaves them in the order of freedom. It is just a conversion from one religion to other religion, from the order of religion to the order of freedom. So Islam promotes patriarchy, and we as Muslims believe that only patriarchy protects and respects women. That's the actual meaning when we say Islam is the only religion that protects and respects women. That means Islam preaches patriarchy. So practice Islam or practice gender equality. There is no third possibility. No choice is yours.
So it has generated some heat. Well